Hey guys, welcome back. What if I told you that you could have prime rib cheaper than you could have steak? Kinda. Watch this. So I went down to DSR Farms and I got one of the biggest chuck roasts that I could find. And it's got really good intermuscular fat, which is going to be super important to this. It's got a pretty nice fat cap, but unfortunately, cooking this way, that's not going to do us any good. But first, I'm just going to season this very well. Salt, pepper, and garlic powder. And it's over 3.5 pounds, so don't cheap out on your seasoning here. And next I'm going to take some butcher's twine. I'm not going to explain to you how I did this knot, just watch this, and then about every 2 inches from the center, just keep going out until you get it all trussed. Next, I'm going to vacuum seal this, and it does have a bone kind of sticking out on one side, so I take just a little piece of some vacuum seal bag and stick over that before I do so the bone doesn't poke through the bag. If you don't have a vacuum sealer, get one. And if you haven't already gotten one, then you can use some really good Ziploc bags, and you may want to even double bag it and then just kind of dunk it in water and leave a little hole for all the air to escape. And that should work, but this is going to be a 24-hour cook, so if you have a sous vide machine, you can use that. I do not. I do have this Crockpot that is on its way out, and on low it sets about at 135 degrees if I play with it just a little bit, which is going to be perfect for this. What you're going to want to do is just make sure that your container is full over the top of the chuck roast of water, and make sure I used an instant read thermometer to make sure the temperature stayed fine, and mine evaporated about an ounce of water an hour, so about every 8 hours or so I would add a cup of water back to it. You did hear me right earlier. I cooked this for 24 hours. That's what's going to make this super tender, and the 135 degree cook is going to keep it at medium rare the whole time, so it's going to be perfect. We'll open this up, and you're going to want to save this broth that comes off of this. I'm going to make a gravy here in just a second with that, and I'm patting this thing dry so we can get a nice sear on the outside. You could sear this any way you want it. If you've got a grill or something, you just want to pan fry it, that's also fine. I used the broiler. I brushed it down with butter, stuck it under the broiler at 500 degrees for 4 minutes, flipped it, 4 minutes, flipped it, 4 minutes, flipped it, and 4 minutes again. So a total of 8 minutes per side, and it came out perfect. This gravy is super simple. You've probably seen it before, but it's just a couple of tablespoons of butter and a few tablespoons of flour. Cook that, and then add that broth back to it. And then I had to add a little bit more broth that I had in the fridge to get it the consistency that I wanted. This does come with a few caveats here. It's not exactly like prime rib. It is fork tender if you cut it correctly, and here's what you've got to do. you need to cut each individual muscle out separately because you are not cooking this hot enough to get the connective tissue to melt like it would in a traditional roast. So that's also why the fat cap does us no good here, because it's got connective tissue on it. But if you will cut each muscle out and slice it thin, it is fork tender and just as good as prime rib. If you are looking for like a shaved prime rib sandwich, or just a nice thing that you don't have to worry about presentation really, this is the way to go, and it's a third the price that a rib roast would have been. It's fantastic, and I highly recommend you try it. Thanks for watching.